In India, a home is so much more than just four walls and a roof. It's really a cornerstone of personal security. It's a symbol of success, and it's a huge piece of the entire nation's economic dream. So today, we're going to dive deep into the incredible world of housing finance in India.
But before we jump into all the numbers and the economics, let's just start with a really simple question. Think about it for a second. What is it that really transforms a building, a house, into a home? It's that feeling, right? That sense of stability, of pride, of just belonging. And it turns out that feeling actually has a name. Well, three of them, in fact. See, the value we're talking about isn't just about the market price. It's measured in three totally distinct forms with equity, and each one of them taps into a really fundamental human need. Okay, so first up, you've got personal equity. This is the one we all know, the straightforward financial value, your long-term asset. Then there's reputational equity. Owning a home is often a really powerful symbol of stability and your standing in the community. And finally, and you could argue this is the most important one, there's emotional equity, that deep personal sense of pride and security that comes from having a place you can truly call your own. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Take that personal dream of owning a home and multiply it by millions and millions of people. What you get is something else entirely, a massive, powerful engine for the entire national economy. Just how massive are we talking? Well, get this. The housing sector contributes a staggering 12% to India's GDP. That's not just a market. It is a fundamental pillar of the country's entire economic machine. And what's absolutely fascinating is how it does that. The housing sector actually drives demand across more than 300 other industries. I mean, just think about that ripple effect for a second. We're not just talking about the obvious stuff like steel and cement. We're talking about everything from the companies making paint to the logistics firms delivering new furniture. And all of this just hammers home one central idea. Building houses literally builds the economy. In fact, housing is the fourth largest employment generator in the entire country. And this gives you a perfect picture of who gets to work. You've got the construction workers on the ground, the manufacturers churning out steel and cement, the engineers and architects drawing up the plans, and it doesn't even stop there. You have all the industries that furnish and decorate the home after it's built. Every single new home creates this incredible chain of jobs. So we have this massive economic engine, right? But what's putting fuel in the tank? What's driving this incredible, almost unprecedented demand for housing in India right now? Well, it turns out it's this powerful mix of social and economic forces, all coming together at once. First off, you've just got the raw numbers, a huge growing population with millions of people moving to cities for jobs. At the very same time, you've got a major cultural shift happening. People are moving from large joint family setups to smaller nuclear families, and every one of those new families needs its own space. And then you layer on top of that rising incomes, higher lifestyle goals, and the fact that real estate is still seen as a rock-solid investment. But if you had to point to one single driver, one demographic group that is the absolute engine of this boom, it is, without a doubt, India's rapidly expanding middle class. Now, check out the trajectory on this slide. The story these numbers tell is just wow. Back in 2021, the middle class made up about 31% of the population. By 2031, that's projected to jump to 38%. But look at 2047. A staggering 60% of India could be in the middle class. This isn't just a trend. It's a demographic wave that's creating a historic, once-in-a-generation demand for good quality housing. Okay, so you've got this massive, really diverse wave of new home buyers. But how does the world of finance actually serve them? I mean, with a population this big and varied, lenders can't just have a one-size-fits-all approach. They have to get much, much smarter about it. And they do that using something called customer segmentation. Now, it sounds a little technical, but the idea is actually super simple. Think of it like this. You wouldn't walk into a tailor shop and expect them to have just one size of suit for every single person, right? No way. A good tailor measures you, understands your needs, and cuts the cloth to fit you perfectly. Well, in finance, segmentation is just that. It's the process of understanding different groups of customers so you can design the perfect financial product just for them. And in the world of Indian housing finance, this often boils down to grouping potential borrowers into three broad categories, and it's all based on how they earn their living. And this chart is where you can really see just how different these groups are. On one end of the spectrum, you've got the informal group. Think street vendors, people with small cash-based businesses. Their income can be pretty unpredictable, and they might not have a lot of formal paperwork. Then, in the middle, you have the semi-formal group. These are your shopkeepers, freelancers, small business owners. Their income is a bit more stable, they probably have some formal records, and they can tap into a mix of financial sources. And finally, you have the formal group, salaried professionals, people with stable paychecks and a full set of tax documents. Understanding these differences is absolutely crucial because each group needs a completely different kind of loan product and a different way of assessing risk for the whole system to work for everybody. So the demand is just undeniable, and that dream of owning a home is stronger than it has ever been. But as tens of millions more Indians from every walk of life, from street vendors to corporate execs, reach for that dream, it leaves us with one big question. Can the world of finance innovate fast enough to create a key for every single new door?